I'm so used to when we do the Crownsmen Show looking
like
at this.
waiting.
And
I know.
that's,
I'm like,
Yeah.
huh.
I'm not
Why are you looking at the TV?
Hi, everybody. Where's Lenny?
All here. Oh, why didn't you bring Lenny?
I'm not doing that. I can't. He's not a traveling.
I apologize in advance.
Yeah.
Are we rolling?
We are rolling.
Did you apologize to him in advance?
I sent a this is a casual interview email.
Phew.
That's what I did.
Super
That's what I did.
cash.
If you prep too much, then people get like in their heads. So, William, welcome to the show. William Donnellan. We co-host a show together.
Good to see you again, William.
You too. You too. Thanks for having me here.
I wonder when I'm going to get called out for just being on camera as much as I possibly can
Were
be.
you on camera this morning when I was filming too? You probably had one set up.
I tried to get on, but they kicked me out.
I kicked him out.
Good.
Gowdy Molina,
I'm
keeping
sick of
everything running.
Serena kept everything running. I'm confused.
Gowdy, what are you? We always forget what you do here now.
I've been told I sit around with my feet up in the air and do nothing.
That was Rory. So William, we're gonna try to not get you canceled. It hasn't happened yet on the show. We've got sponsors. They stay with us, so we don't say anything too crazy. But maybe let's just kick off. Rory and you have met briefly. You and I have obviously hosted the West Coast Business Show, and we're pumping those episodes out. But maybe just for anybody, it's kind of a different audience here. Maybe just your background in the business world.
Okay. First off, thanks for having me here.
Welcome.
My name is William Donnellan. I originally come from Ireland. I moved here with my wife, my girlfriend at the time, Laura, in 2009. Came here for 1 month on our way to Toronto. True story. Absolutely no connections, not even a phone number. It's a long story, but I do some equestrian stuff, and a guy called Ken Carr that I used to ride a lot of horses with, he said to me he trained to be a surgeon in Vancouver, himself and his wife. And they heard that I had told him that I was going to go to Canada. And he said, what part are you going to? And I said, probably Toronto, because we had connections there. And there's a lot of Irish over there, and it would be a little bit easier to, I guess, get your feet on the ground. And Ken said, you got to go to Vancouver, because, if you go to Toronto, you'll never get to Vancouver. And Vancouver's an amazing place. Like, it's the most beautiful place.
Amen.
Yeah, so
Aggressive.
I didn't know much about Vancouver, to be honest. And Ken wouldn't give up. He just kept on to me all the time. I'd see him probably on a weekly basis. And at the time I was having surgery on my shoulder from a sports injury. And he wouldn't let up. He said, I'm not going to give up until you show me your ticket to Vancouver.
Because you're still in Toronto at this point, and he's like, no, you got to come.
No, I didn't even go to Toronto. I'm in Ireland.
Oh, you're still in Ireland. Okay.
You still haven't gone to Toronto, have you?
I went recently.
Oh, you went recently?
16 years later.
16 years later.
This was in these
Take
conversations.
that, Toronto. You know what I think of you.
Don't even get him started on Edmonton.
Oh, jeez. We're going to be here forever.
So these conversations were happening in 2008. Came to Canada early 2009. But came here for a month, stayed in the Ramada Hotel on Granville. And the plan was to tip on then over to Toronto and never left Vancouver. 16 years later, here we are.
Once you went to Toronto, because we love to dump on Toronto, once you went to Toronto, did you see why he was so adamant?
I did. Yes, I did.
Great.
Sorry to everybody in Toronto, including my brother Brian. But, different strokes for different folks, we would say. And I can see why people fall in love with Vancouver, like the mountains. It's beautiful, it's clean, it's safe. All big cities have, certain problems, and there's nothing we can do about that. But I think in the grand scheme of things, Vancouver is one of the most beautiful places in the world. Our office is in South Falls Creek, kind of between Granville Island and Olympic Village, and we're on the seawall. And
Great spot.
I walk in there in the morning, and I look and see the mountains in the backdrop, and I pinch myself.
Well, I'll pretend I wasn't jealous when I went to y'all. I was like, oh man. Well, it looks like there's supposed to be a coffee shop there.
Yeah, There was, I think,
Yeah.
at one point.
And then it's your office all like isn't the round? It's kind of rounded in the
It is.
front. Yeah,
Yeah, it kind of goes around.
with the water and it's perfect.
Legged
Nice
Boot
pour.
Square actually is Legged Boot Square is the name of the area because a leg was found in a boot, washed up in that area one time.
Oh,
back in the day.
They call it boot in a leg, right?
Leg in
Or
boot.
leg in a boot. I mixed that up. Wow.
Yeah.
It's because of my pour. I'm
No,
so distracted.
no more beer.
Whipped cream on a beer.
Oh, by the way, this episode is brought to you, funded, made us millionaires by cranky old men drinking beer. It's a Danish. I've never actually had this.
Neither.
They're one of your suppliers, aren't they?
Yeah, Carlsberg. We work closely with them. We have 7 pubs as well, so they're really good client. I couldn't speak high enough about them, so I was delighted to see that he had Carlsberg.
Yeah, well, I wish Rory Slack was here to give us like a proper review. At the end, we just say what we think about it, and cranky old men drinking beer pays us. I don't know how. Do you have any idea what it's up to now? Thousands and thousands of dollars.
Thousands and thousands.
Hundreds and hundreds of thousands.
We thought Imperial Oil was going to pay the bill. Nope. Poor old Roy.
Let's talk about our heavy industry world tour brought to you by Savannah Equipment. Find, market, and sell surplus and used equipment. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsmen.com to be part of Crownsmen's Heavy Industry World Tour. Discover Geo Cider, where Squamish natural beauty meets artisanal cider craftsmanship. Our passionate team creates small batch ciders that capture the essence of the sea to sky corridor. From our signature Old World apple with hints of toffee to unique blends like dark fruit and peach, there's a cider for every palate. Enjoy our warm atmosphere, wide selection of craft ciders and beers, and mouth-watering food pairings. Whether you're a local or just passing through, GeoCider offers a taste of Squamish you won't forget. Visit geocider.com to learn more about our cider-making process and upcoming events. GeoCider, where cider makes life better. Are you facing the challenges of CO2 shortages in your construction projects? Secure your CO2 supply today with Tomco Systems, the pioneers in CO2 equipment solutions. With over 45 years of experience, Tomco transforms challenges into solutions, offering a comprehensive range of CO2 products for water treatment, storage, and transportation. Tomco Systems' patented CO2-based water treatment and wastewater treatment solutions have gained global recognition for their efficient and precise pH control systems. Whether you need pH reduction for municipal process treatment or industrial wastewater, their line of carbonic acid storage and feed products will provide you with 95% or greater efficiency in reaching your target pH. Don't let shortages slow you down. Visit tomcosystems.com to learn more.
So anyway, sorry, I should get back on track. So we got here 2009. Took a few months to get work, actually. I remember sending out resumes in Ireland. We'd call them CVs. So just to wrap your head around all the terminology, and things are very different in different areas. And I was in a pub called Doolan's back in the day, if anybody remembers that, Granville and Nelson. Great Irish pub.
Oh, yeah.
Was that a second? No, it wasn't a second floor one, right?
No,
No.
that was Cayley's.
Mm.
Yeah, so just about a block or two up from that. I was telling the guy, I've been sending out resumes and, not hearing anything back. And, my girlfriend, the same thing. So I really need to get some work here soon, or we're going to be heading out. And he gave me a great bit of advice, simple but very effective. He said, go out and buy a pair of boots, put on a high-vis vest, get a hard hat, and walk onto a site. And just, say, who's the boss here? And talk to that person and say, any chance you're hiring. And that's what I did. I went to, I think it was Mark's Workwear, and I got those things, or maybe Army Navy. And I went to 1067 Granville Street, and never forget that. And Jacob Brothers were doing a huge upgrade to Granville Street at the time for the Olympics. The Winter Olympics was 2010, and this is 2009. And about 6 a.m. in the morning, he said, make sure you go early too, because it'll look good. And I met a guy called Trevor, who I'm still very good friends with, Trevor Tremblay at Jacob Brothers. And
It's amazing.
He gave me an interview and hired me on the spot. So
Yeah. And then
that's what happened.
And then you disappeared.
Then I disappeared. Yeah. You know what happened after that. Worked with Jacob Brothers for
It's one of my favorite stories.
a little bit less than a year. And that was funny. And went back to Ireland for a holiday around Christmas time. Came back and my T4 was in the mail. And I thought that was what we would call in Ireland our P45, like where you get your marching orders, you're fired, get out of here. And I went looking for a job and got a job. And then Trevor called me up and said, when are you coming back to work? What's going on? Like, this holiday's been going on for a month. And I said, Trevor, I've been laid off. He said, what do you mean you've been laid off? He couldn't have been laid off. I had dropped my truck back to the head office in Langley when I was heading to
Did you
Ireland.
talk to anybody when you dropped the truck off?
I didn't. I just dropped it off and dropped the keys at reception and headed off. I was very excited to go back to Ireland for our first trip.
Oh, you dropped it off before the trip.
Yeah, before
Got
the
it.
trip. Yeah. So then came back, started applying for jobs, got a job out in UBC, working, doing concrete formwork actually. And then Trevor called me up and he said, when are you coming back? And I said, I've been fired. And I told him the story and he said, you idiot. That's your T4. That's for doing your tax returns at the end of every year. I'm like,
Oh, that's what those are for. Sorry, guys.
yes. So I said, okay, sorry, Trevor, but I can't really let this guy down now because they're pretty badly stuck and they're busy. And I said, if it doesn't work out, I'll give you a call. And I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. I really do believe in that. And I think that Jacob Brothers, great company, if that hadn't happened, I'd still be working for them today, because it'd be very hard to leave such a great company. Scott and Todd and Jason were the owners there at the time, and became good friends.
Did you always have like the idea that you were going to start something on your own?
I did.
Okay.
Absolutely. I have been an entrepreneur and self-employed since I was 19 years of age. I guess back in Ireland, my parents had 10 kids. I was the only one that didn't go to university. I went and done an apprenticeship in carpentry and joinery instead. And, people often ask me, if you were starting all over again, would you do anything differently? And no, I wouldn't. I am very bullish towards trades and carpentry in particular. Mm-hmm. I've worked in different countries over the world, around the world, and it never took me any more than 24 hours to get a job, other than when I came to Canada and sending out resumes.
You just needed the high vis vest resume.
That's it. Yeah, like honestly, pull up a bar stool there and get talking to the right person. And but when I went and worked in Chicago, for example, we had connections. So you went and you talked to somebody, said like, "Oh yeah, you're a carpenter, okay." Call this
just
guy.
like that.
Yeah, and you had a job. Like honestly, it was so quick and so easy. And trades are a dying breed.
It's crazy.
Nobody's going to trade school.
Yeah, it's crazy. You see, like you pass people on like doing road work or like construction. You're like, these people are going extinct. Like, there's not enough people.
Yeah,
it's wild.
And look, we can use AI and technology for a lot of things, but there's also a lot of things that we can't. Yeah. And I think I have 3 sons now, and I would highly encourage them to get into the trades. If one of them tells me he wants to be an excavator driver, and I encourage that, and I would love to see them getting into the trades, because I genuinely believe that someday trades will make as much money as surgeons, because supply and demand.
Well, they already are in some cases, like welders that are going up north and that they're making.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's already happening.
Yeah. If you're willing to go the places that other people aren't going, right?
And you don't necessarily have to do that to make a good wage either, because you could stay in Vancouver, have a great standard of living, and you can get a very, very good rate of pay.
And I just want to do a quick shout out, because you mentioned Chicago. We will be there in September for WebTech.
We're always promoting.
Exactly.
Good.
Attention builders, we've got everything you need to know about the grit and grind of the construction world in one show. The Construction Show is where you can share your expert techniques and strategies to help keep the crew strong and construction sites secure. From foundational tips, industry trends, safety strategies to advanced equipment and machinery. Be part of the voice of construction. Book your episode and showcase your company to millions worldwide. Visit crownsmen.com. Did you know cementitious binders can be responsible for up to 70% of the total GHG footprint of mine backfilling processes? Now you can replace up to 50% of the binder in your mine backfill operations with Graybond, Graymont's new low-carbon cementitious binder. This lime-based alternative binder maintains a 40 to 70% lower GHG footprint compared to typical cement and can adapt to varying mine conditions without compromising performance. Learn more about Graybond at graybond.com.
Yeah, were you there?
And I haven't been there, so I get to go there and film, so I'm really excited to see the city.
What was your experience there in Chicago? How long were you there for?
I was there, I worked for 3 months in 2001 and 2003. Went there. We got like little sports scholarships. We went there playing hurling. I think you know what that is. It's like our national sport in Ireland. Kind of like cross between lacrosse and hockey.
Very cool.
It's a pretty cool sport to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's huge in the US. So we went there playing hurling for 3 months in 2001, 2003. It's a long time ago now. But I worked for family business there at the time. They work in construction, done a lot of framing and renovations and stuff like that. Absolutely.
You said you have a background like equestrian, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to like the oh yeah, there it
Just
is.
in case you didn't know.
Yeah. Because I was getting into like the Grand National circuit a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And have you ever been to one of those races in Ireland?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
There's a racing festival in Galway, the west of Ireland, where I'm from, and it's world famous.
Okay.
What's it called?
Kind of the Galway races.
You can probably pull that one up too.
GALWAY, the Galway races. And I promised myself when I left Ireland that, no matter what happens, I'm going to go back every year for that. Like I said, when I was going to the Calgary Stampede, or I went to the Calgary Stampede in 2009, the first year I was here, I said, I'm never going to miss that again. I haven't been there since. But last year I finally got back for the first time for the Galway races. And I tell you one thing, I was kicking myself. Like, it's a festival you just don't want to miss. It's so much fun, so much culture, excitement, just brings everybody together. Yeah, this is
awesome.
Oh, look at that viewing facility right there.
Yeah.
They call them we would say jumps, but they actually call them fences, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Actually, good friends of ours, the Earls, this Easy Fix, make those fences.
Oh, okay.
It's so cool, and it's just, you just got to go there and experience it.
Yeah, I now that I'm getting into it, I'm like, yeah, I need to go watch these races because it's a totally different thing than like the Kentucky Derby or ever. There's so much skill involved, from like the horses to the jockeys. It's crazy.
They're an interesting mix, right? The horses are a mixture of what are the breeds?
Thoroughbreds.
Oh, there's thoroughbreds.
But
horses,
my mom was saying that they also will use, because they do like the gene, they'll actually put in like a little bit of Clydesdale at times too to thicken up like the legs.
Yeah, but not for this sport, because this is all about speed.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, these are.
Yeah, those certainly look like
These are
thoroughbreds.
very highly bred for horse racing in particular.
Okay.
And we're from in the west of Ireland.
Yeah.
This is a huge part of our culture. Like, in a 5-mile radius, there could be 5 different racehorse trainers.
Wow.
Who do this for a living, and lots of young girls and boys who are jockeys. So make a living out of riding these horses.
It's cool because they like weight. Everything's weighted the same.
So that's the thing they do, right? They make sure it's
yeah, exactly. There's handicaps like golf and.
Yeah, I was watching obviously the Grand National in England, so that's like kind of like the peak. And they've actually, I watched 2015 versus I think 2025. It was interesting to see because they've added regulations to make it more challenging, and you can definitely see the level has gone up in the 10 years.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun.
Oh, so is this? This doesn't have the fences then, or this does?
Some of them do, and some of them don't. That one, that particular race has fences, yes. But there's flat racing like we have here in Vancouver as well.
Oh, okay.
But there's also.
And thanks everybody for watching our equestrian series.
Hey, the audience.
National Hunt, they call the racing with the jumps.
Oh, okay.
What do they say that?
National Hunt.
National Hunt?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like, as you talked about, look at the Aintree Grand National. Look at the size of those fences. Oh, those fences are the hygiene ceiling. Yeah. And these horses are coming at them at 40 kilometers an hour. They start jumping here when the fence is over there.
Yeah.
Because they got the big, then they got the ponds, of course, to make it even more challenging. It's just insane.
Yeah.
It's such an insane sport.
Water jumps.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, there's something
it goes on for it's a week-long festival.
Right, so it's a whole, kind of like the Calgary Stampede. I probably told you, my sister won the Calgary Stampede.
Unreal.
Yeah, it was just, and
she a tie break.
Yeah, she had to do she did a runoff because they tied, so then they had to run a third time. Because the way it works is you're like in these different pools, and then the top, I think 8 run on the last day against each other. And then she tied with someone, so they had to
To
run
the 100th of the second.
Yeah,
Wow.
It was insane.
and it was as crazy as any audience I've ever been in. The fans were just going nuts.
It was unreal.
And it was, and she won. She won like $130,000 doing it. But it was. I mean, it's about a lot more than the money, right? It's that pride.
Yeah.
You actually won the Calgary Stampede,
Yeah.
which is. I mean,
No
it's
one can take that away from you. Money they can.
Yeah, and they do. I mean, the truck alone is about $100,000, and the trailer. Yeah,
Don't get into it. Don't get into it.
no.
It's a great. Don't get into it.
Don't ruin it.
Yeah, there's something I actually wanted to ask you about in business, because I was yesterday, and I was saying to Rory, I had the pure entrepreneur day yesterday. I started the day. I had a meeting with a big organization out of the U.S. that wants to partner with us. So it was duplicating another partnership we have with another organization that they kind of work with. So that it's kind of a continuation of expanding our business. So that was sort of the beginning of the day. Then I went to the Irish consulate, met with them to discuss, possibly, we work with governments promoting technology and that. So that was all very like business, you're dressed a certain way, doing a certain thing. Then I came back. We had to put some of these new curtains up because our last system was terrible, so I had to. By the end of the day, I was vacuuming the floor. At 11 o'clock at night. Getting the place, because we put dust all over the place. So it was the true experience, and I thought this is the life of an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah, if someone took a picture of me at any given time, they'd think of the company as to having different levels of success just based on which moment they captured. But you've got such a successful business. You've got, I think, over 200 employees, you were saying, before we started. You've got seven pubs. You've got a construction company. Now you've got a show through us. So you're getting into the media stuff. Like you're just growing and growing. How... this is genuinely, personally, I'm curious how you started to make those, because I still can't tell the difference of when I should be sweeping the floor or when I should be getting someone else to do it. So, Rory, I know you do it. I always bug Rory because we'll in a meeting, he'll be like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll be like, don't do that. Get someone else to do that. So we both deal with it. But you've done it very successfully. And I'm curious how you've, at different stages, have managed that.
Very good question. And when you asked me that initially, there's 10 different things going through my mind. True entrepreneur.
Oh.
But I think you just, for me anyway, and everybody is different. I have this internal motto, I guess, that I get up every day and I do the best that I can. That's it. And if I do that, I won't have any regrets. I've done what I could. I couldn't do anything else.
Right.
If I was at home lying on the couch and I was Dawson, of course, I can have regrets then. Like I didn't put in my best today. So every day I try and do my best. When the weekends come, I'm spending time with my family. And that's very important too. I think you need to do.
So I shouldn't keep sending you all those messages I send every week.
Stop it. Anyone that knows me, I'm available 7 days a week, probably 20 hours a day. But I love what I do, so it doesn't seem like work to me. And I know we talked about this before, and Laura would often be calling me at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening and saying, what are you doing, or what's wrong with you? Will you get home here and it's dinner time? But I'm like, oh, how the hell is it 6 o'clock? The day will go by like that. I genuinely love what I do. And what do people say? Well, do you prefer the pubs, hospitality, or do you prefer the construction, or do you prefer the development, or the podcasts, or what do you really like to do? And I like it all. I just like doing business. I'm a very social person.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in a very big family. Out in the country, where big family in a small village where everybody knows everybody, and it's very social. And I do believe that socializing is very important, especially for our mental health. And I think socializing and exercising, those are key, and that works for me. And then like doing the best that you can every day. Then I'll have a list of daily good habits, and I think we talked about that before. I have certain things that I do every day to make sure that I'm as productive as I can be, and some of them might be like on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll start off by going to the gym, as early as I can. And that's as important to me as anything else, because I got to make sure that I'm feeling good and I'm fit and I'm healthy if I want to look after, a couple of hundred other people or families who are working for us. I can't do that. I can't look after my wife, our kids, or any of our employees if I'm not feeling good, or if, my mental health is suffering, or if I'm injured. So that's one of the most important things. That goes in my calendar, and everything is scheduled around that. I always try and schedule and promote to our teams, schedule your priorities. Don't prioritize your schedule. Some people, just jam things into their schedule there and they're trying to do everything. But like half of those things might not even need to be in your schedule, so put in things that these things have to happen today. When I get to my office, first thing I'll do is I'll write down 3 to 5 things that I can't leave today without getting these done. And then I don't forget them. And
do you a question on that too? Because like especially for me, you start getting into micromanagement. I try and work on getting better at that. How many people?
He's not getting better.
It's not true. It's not true.
No, he calls
I'll talk
like
to my
10
therapist
times a day.
about it. The 7. I've limited it to 7.
Just to give you
like
some
midnight.
context, he works 3.5 hours away. He lives in Kamloops.
okay.
So he's not in the office that much. So today we're like doing
I was
stuff
just
in the office,
looking, I was curious.
and he's following us. He's literally physically following us around. Like, what are you doing?
What's going on?
What are you
I don't
doing?
have emails to send.
He's getting up from his desk and like following
I
us
was
through the
getting up. I was standing.
So,
But I'm curious, like, how many people, like, usually, like,
Somebody's helped him.
You're managing. Like, is it, like, do you have 5 direct reports, or do you have 10?
no, and maybe I should, but again, this is what works for me.
Yeah.
I hear, I do a lot of coaching, and business coaching and life coaching, and I am part of a lot of groups like the McKay CEO forums and the ICBA, and those really help me. I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of audiobooks when I'm driving. So I love to educate myself. And I don't know if there's any secret sauce, but for me, I try not to micromanage too much. I'm sure I do it a bit. And sometimes maybe we think we're micromanaging. We might be just having a conversation with somebody, or we're interested in something, or we're, maybe just asking questions.
Yeah.
But
So fine. I apologize.
I think
I don't accept. I don't accept.
I think it's very important that you hire the right people. And if you find that you have to micromanage a lot, you don't have the right person. You need to.
It is amazing when you've got good people and you just go like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. You do it. And they're like, well, yeah, of course I can do that.
Yeah. And a lot of the time I find when you let go, like release and let go, and you give this project to somebody else, they'll often do a better job than I would do with that project.
Yes.
Wow, I was trying to do this and this and this, and they're actually better than me. A very simple example is somebody, doing some graphic design or making a poster. Like, we got people, you got to know people's strengths and their weaknesses and where they need a little bit of help with. And how do you do that? You have open communication, and we are, very much so an open book within our group. We sit down every couple of weeks and we have our bi-weekly team talk in our office. Something I implemented after noticing, like, we do this on construction sites all the time. We have our toolbox talk. We don't have a toolbox talk for the office. So so people that are in the office here, they might never get to share their opinions. So we all get together for 15 minutes. You bring your agenda items if there's any you want to talk about, and we'll share good news stories, what's coming up, is there any issues or any roadblocks in the way, and it's just a quick powwow, and it kind of makes people feel like they're being heard.
Yeah.
Our management meetings kind of, remember when we didn't have management meetings? Gowdy will remember. Wow.
Yeah, we added that in once a week, just that, anybody in management, we'd meet and plan, it was just, sometimes it was just a slight, usually Gowdy telling us, hey, you need to update us when this happens.
Organization is the key.
Yeah. It's a crucial word when you get, like, you start expanding, especially if you've got people working, like, in different countries and different locations. Yeah. The organization is massive.
But I am curious, so where I mean, there must have been a point where you were, started in the contracting from, if I remember right? You started the construction side first, right? And then all of a sudden you've got a couple pubs. Now you've got, instead of 10 employees, you've got 30. Did you ever consciously make any pivots? I'll give you an example. Like we actually made pivots going, okay, we're going to do, like, you report to this person reports to you, so that we know. So, like, I'm not talking to the editors. Gowdy's talking to the editors.
Yeah.
Every now and then there might be, like, we might jump on a meeting for something, but, it's once every couple of weeks. It's that generally I'm not involved. We had to make some conscious decisions because it was just getting too chaotic. You must have gone through some version of that.
I did, for sure. Structure, and as you said, like being organised. Simple as that. You have to be organised. Absolutely everything that I have to do, whether it's business or family life, goes into my calendar. Everything. If it's not in my calendar, it doesn't happen. And I know it works, and I see some of our managers have adapted because they have come to me and said, how do you manage everything, and can you help me? I'm forgetting to do this and this and this, and I'm suffering because of it. And some of them have adapted to it, and they said, wow. So by putting everything, and I color code things as well. So like if it's family, it'll be a certain color. If it's,
But and are there other people that can already see, like, on your team that can see that too? So they know, like, what's going on?
Absolutely. And big shout out to Kira Flood, my executive assistant, because, she handles the most of that. And, I'm the one who'll call up and say, I ran over in that meeting and now I got to move this, and now I got to move this. And she's got to, make all those moves to make sure that everything continues to move forward, without too much hiccups. So having the right people around you too, that is so important, and delegating for sure, and trusting in your people. And, when you do that, I find they will, when you empower them a bit, they'll grow as well. And they like to learn, and they want to prove to you that, I have a purpose here and I'm going to do a good job, and look at what I can do. And
in hospitality, do you have somebody basically managing? Because that's probably a lot of turnover, right? In hospitality for, like, the servers and everything?
It is, but we're very lucky, and obviously we're doing something right. And another big shout out to my wife Laura, who's our HR manager and partner, and she is a very good judge of character. She married me, I suppose she'd have to be.
Yeah,
but honestly, they got a good laugh out of that, didn't I?
Well, that just reminds me of, I told my husband that. I said, you can't judge my choices. I chose you.
But spending that little bit more time hiring the right person.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time, and this was these little lessons that stuck with me for years and years. But Todd Jacobs from Jacob Brothers phoned me one time. He calls me at the weekend, and I was like, geez, what's up, So Todd's calling me, a huge, big company, great guy. And he said, hi, William, I'm just calling about, this individual. He's applied for a job at Jacob Brothers, and, will you let me know a little bit about him? I know he worked at IRL. And I was there thinking, like, this is Todd Jacobs, like, from Jacob Brothers, and he's calling me at the weekend about hiring a carpenter, And I'm sure he has a full HR division. I'm absolutely certain he has. But those are the steps he went to make sure that they hired somebody that was, a good fit, and that they didn't waste time later on replacing that person, because we all know they say it costs 15 times more money, to replace someone than it does to.
Well, and in that job particular, like when I had the home exterior company, we always were very excited when we got those the insurance jobs where they'd hired the wrong people and then they'd hire us to come in there and fix. And it was just, it was almost a blank check. It was crazy because you had to rip everything out. Everything was wrong. And then the framers would have, it was, and I'm thinking of there was a area in Kamloops that the whole thing was an insurance job. And it was great.
Yeah. No, honestly, we do so much work like that. Actually, I just got a phone call on my way here from a guy, project manager from Peak Construction, who said, we're having problems with a contractor, and would you be able to meet me on site tomorrow and take over this work, But So we do get a lot of work like that, and there is people out there, unfortunately, who are, not capable and pull the wool over people's eyes for a small while. But cream always comes to the top, and
It does, yeah.
You will get found out.
Our friend over in Alberta always said about that, like when oil and gas was booming, everybody in their truck was a whatever they wanted to call themselves.
Right.
Every downturn, they're all gone.
They're all found out, and
Yeah, and somehow those other guys that was downturns that doesn't really, even in I mean, obviously we're always trying to get better, but you sort of figured out this production side, and how many companies have we seen come and go?
Well, the funniest one was like a long time ago when we weren't like we adopted the value of like have exceptional production, exceptional targeting for the shows, and I remember there was a company back when they actually they put up the same background at a show.
Yeah.
They even
Cheers.
They even
Two crackers? No.
Sláinte.
Oh.
no. They even had like at that point I think it was you and Gowdy hosting a lot, so they even copied that.
Yeah, they had like this. They had like the same look. It was weird. It was a little much.
Cloned me.
Yeah.
I think they actually had a Latino and like co-hosting, but it was just gone because the substance. What we realized pretty early on is like we need to prep for these. Like we're not going to have a Sandvik on or an Imperial Oil or Petro-Canada lubricants without the prep. Like remember the first episode with Petro-Canada lubricants?
Mm-hmm.
It was first through a comms division, and then the next one they're like,
out of the UK.
Yeah, they're like, no, we're just going to refilm this, and it went straight to Petro-Canada lubricants. They're like, okay, we'll look at.
Yeah, but it's also just knowing the process. Like when we had Imperial Oil on, I mean, as you can imagine, there's nobody. So that interview, when we do West Coast Business Show, imagine that. But now there's 3 PR people listening in for one word being wrong,
and they found one.
It was a good fix, actually. But the other thing I think I think is, especially in contracting, with what we do is knowing how long things take. So what would happen in production is everybody went, okay, it's going to be everybody can throw up a phone. That's enough to do one show.
Yeah.
But to do it 200 times in a year,
Yeah.
we figured out that it takes 40 to 50 hours per episode. If one person could do every single job, from the booking, the editing, putting it out there, promoting it, all that stuff, it takes 40 hours per episode. And so companies have tried to do it thinking, we'll do this off the side. We'll see if we can get a little extra revenue. And all of a sudden they realize, we need $70,000 just to hire someone to manage this.
Yeah.
Well, now we need cameras. Well, now we need to book some. How are we going to book? How are we going to book
the
people every week?
Then you're hundreds of thousands in gear.
Yeah.
And then
do all that work and then no views. Then you don't have any views.
No views.
You have no audience.
No views.
So then you're 3 to 4 years just getting an audience.
Yeah.
But while you're doing that, you got to get the guests. Well, you've got no audience, so you just got
and on YouTube has got its big stars, all the top content. Like Jerrod and I were talking about it yesterday. It's just there's all these shows that I would love to watch. I can only consume so
much content.
There's so much content, so you kind of have to pick and choose. And especially with like young kids, it's like you only get a limited amount of time, so you want to like kind of pick something you think is going to be maybe like worthwhile for your time. But you really have to just blank completely on that. So edit that.
All you were saying about your kids, all I was thinking I was going to tell you. So his daughter is like, it's Rory. You don't know Rory that well, but basically you could say that he just reacts.
What was I even talking about?
I don't know.
That was amazing.
What was it you said? He like reacts. He like jumps.
You can see the words hitting him.
Yeah.
I'm calm. I'm a very calm person.
Oh my God. We were just talking about that, Rory.
He comes right on. So you've got a long line of insane people in your family.
Thanks.
Oh, can we bring up pictures?
Oh man, that was amazing. I don't know where I was going with that.
I could literally
No,
see.
I know what happened. You glanced over me and you saw me with a smirk and it I know exactly what happened to you because I was loading up to say something.
Yeah, I was getting ready.
Okay, there's something though again that I'm curious and this is your specialty, Rory. But so to start this part of the discussion, is, and I actually don't, because I was terrible at it on the contracting side. I would either charge too much, and so some jobs we'd get it because there was like demand, and we, kind of. But I never got. In all fairness, I was like 20 years old, but so my bidding skills were not great, and I would charge too little and lose job on the big projects. I'd always charge too little, and they'd drag out, so I'd lose money. And then on the big jobs, or on the small jobs, that's where we'd make our money because like it was just demand and a quick sell. Wasn't sustainable though because you need those big projects to really build a company.
We're trying to do bids.
Yeah, we were starting to be. We were just getting into that when 2008 hit.
And I hadn't even told you about margin of safety yet.
Yeah, no, I didn't know anything about that. I just add 20% to every project and hope it works.
That's why it's called estimating.
Yeah. And then the people would look and go, "What did I just pay for?" We go, "Well, it's on the wall now." I tried. I remember when I went out of business, and our supplier wouldn't send us any more supplies. And they, in all fairness, it wasn't just us. This was in 2008. And it was 2009. Again, I was 22 years old or something. And I went and I had to give the money back to someone. And this is when people weren't giving a lot of money back. People were just disappearing all over the place.
That's like the oil and gas sector.
So I gave them their money back. And then I'd never seen these folks before. And the next day, or it was like on a Friday, I gave it to them. And then on a Sunday, we were in church, and they were sitting right there. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because, oh, man, they would have been like, hi, I recognize you.
Time for confession.
Yeah. But I am wondering, like, you're in restaurants. They are thin margins on those. You've got in construction, things go wrong, and you do some specialty work as well, so it's like a little more complex, some of it. I actually don't understand because you're in two businesses that can go really right or really wrong. And I'm curious how you approach, even from a financial side of like managing that approach.
Yeah, and I'm glad to say it just came out of an executive committee meeting. We have a weekly executive committee meeting, which is also very important. I call it our weekly tactical meeting. 5 people who sit on our executive committee, one being Laura, my wife, and myself as well, and 3 others who are senior managers in different industries. And we make decisions collectively. Like, I've made a lot of decisions and I've made a lot of mistakes. And if I can minimize those mistakes, then that'll save us money and save us time, which is even as important. So by bringing, great people around you and listening to them, listen to their opinions. So they'll often vote. I'll say, let's do this, and we'll have a quick vote, and they'll say no, and then it won't happen. So
you're actually voting stuff down.
when we have to, but not often it comes to a vote.
Yeah.
But you have to listen to them as well, because you have to respect that they're on this committee, and they get a bonus at the end of the year for sitting on that,
for making good decisions.
Yes, for making all the decisions. But glad to report that today we sat down and looked at our May performance, and we made money in all areas, which is very important.
Do you do it every month?
No, every week.
Every week.
It's called a weekly tactical meeting. I just call it our executive committee meeting.
Yep.
It's a weekly tactical meeting.
Nice.
And we sit down probably for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Every week. Bi-weekly we meet with our managers, and it's just about having the right people. I read the book, Good to Great, and that, Jim Collins, and that really helped me. Basically, hiring people, and I use, like they call it, the hedgehog concept, and it's I use that for purchasing businesses now. I use it for hiring people, and basically the 3 things I got from it, the hedgehog concept, I'll call it, is are you passionate? So am I passionate about this business? If I'm not passionate about this business, actually, if this business doesn't tick all these 3 boxes, I'm not going to buy this business.
Even if it's a good business.
Even if it's a good business.
It's boring to you.
Absolutely.
It can be boring.
Yeah. Yeah, life is too short.
Yeah.
I had somebody come to me a couple of days ago with what I thought could be huge, but I said to them straight up, I really don't care about this, and this is not my passion, and I don't want to waste my time, because the one thing I don't have is time. I don't want to waste it on this when I'm not passionate about it, and then I'm wasting your time. So, I wish you all the best with this, and I'll give you some context, and hopefully it opens some doors for you. But, I'm not interested.
It's a great model to follow. I do it in investing because people will be like, tell me about a business. For me, I love retail. I love the retail side of it. It's a crazy business, and I've had some massive swings in it. But it's like, it's so interesting because it's just something, it's like, you see like the malls are getting shut down, or some of them.
Yeah.
So you have to like manage, what do I like? If you like retail, you better be diving deep into like, what brands do people actually want?
Yeah, it's a tough industry.
Yeah.
So, number one, am I passionate about this? And in no particular order. Number two, peerless. Can I be the best in the world at this?
Can I be the best? Nice.
So, for example, we purchased a business at the start of this year, and I asked myself that question, and I said, yeah, we can be the best in the world at this, and it doesn't have to be the best in the world. Maybe it's, can I be the best in BC? Can I be the best in Canada? Can we be the best in our industry doing this? And yes, tick that box as well. And number three, profitable. Can we make money by doing this? Because if we're doing this, it's very, very hard to enjoy it if we're not making money. If we have to keep supplementing this business and this cash calls, I can tell you right now, I've done that, and that is not fun and not enjoyable. So I always ask myself those three things. And then when it comes to hiring people, senior managers, I use the same concept, and I ask them, are you passionate? How passionate are you about this industry? Like, do you really, really love it, or do you not want to do it? And some of our managers, I've had conversations with them, they said, I'm not really that passionate about this industry and this job, and we shake hands and they go, into
the Jack Welch
another
concept.
industry.
It's like move on because we both.
Yeah, that happens.
There's no point.
That has happened. I see, are they able to make money? Can they make this business profitable? That's their job. At the end of the day, they got to make some money for us, because if we are not making money, we won't be able to keep going. And can they be the best at this? Peerless. Can you be the best person possible for this job?
Who said about the hedgehog concept? Because
that's in that book, Good to Great.
It is in that one
Yeah.
too. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very good book, and I wish I read it a long time ago.
So
but
it's about sort of why some
it's
companies.
going from good. Yeah. If I'm good and I'm making this much money every year, but I can't seem to get to the next level. How come I'm, doing 10% every year? Like, how can I go to 20 or 30? Or how can I, really, really grow my business? And that's what the book is all about.
Yeah.
But it's very good, and I'd highly recommend.
And those points, those 3 points you covered, that's from that book?
It is.
That's really good.
The hedgehog concept, it's from that book, and there's lots of other
I
great
wonder
stuff.
if Munger read that one too, because it sounds eerily similar
Yeah.
to some of their concepts.
Well, I remember when we were trying to work with the city put on like a festival, and we did some interviews.
Oh,
we were like,
yeah.
Here local.
I thought I liked doing interviews. I found out I do not like doing sandwich interviews. Like tasting people's food. I was like, I hate this so much.
Yeah.
Like, here's $500,000 a year to do this. I'd be like,
Even the shows, it's like like mining and construction are the two beasts basically, because something's always happening with
Yeah.
it.
And we like it. We both come out of
love
that
it.
world.
We
We
love it.
like that
The
sector.
crossover is huge
Yeah.
with those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love construction. I love hospitality. So
Yeah.
to me, it's easy. And
And your family was out of both.
yeah,
You-
that's right.
Yeah.
My mum's side of the family, we were into Irish pubs back in Ireland, so in the hospitality. And my dad's side, my dad, I have 7 uncles on his side, and they were mostly in construction. And I went and done a trade right out of school, and absolutely loved it, and still love it. I love construction. Yeah.
Is an Irish pub in Ireland, is it different than, you own 7 of them here. So are they different? Is there a distinct difference of how you have to sort of like set one up?
Of course, there's little differences, but we try and replicate it to the best of our ability. We want people to walk into Shamrock Storehouse, for example, and feel like they're tasting a little bit of Ireland, that they're in a pub back in Ireland, and we hear that all the time.
Nice.
People say, I walked in the door of Heinz's pub in Kitsilano, and I thought I was, transformed to, Galway. And the that's what we want to hear. Then you know you've kind of nailed it. And I guess keeping it as authentic and as true to the Irish culture as you can. And the decor has a lot got to do with that. And what the visuals, but more important is the people, and I credit all of our success to the people that we have. We have great people, and we were talking about, you mentioned it's like a revolving door in the industry, the hospitality industry. It's so hard to keep people. And I give credit to Laura because she hires good people, but they stay with us. So
that's fascinating in hospitality. That's interesting.
We have some pubs that, we haven't hired like a handful of people in 5 years,
Really?
Honestly, and that's unheard of. So and a big part of that is the culture. And I get people all the time asking me, how do you manage for labor and retention, trying to keep people? What do you do? And it's just be a good person, really. People see that. You can put whatever sayings you want up on the wall and paint whatever pictures you want and try and pull the wool over people's eyes. But at the end of the day, they will see you, they look into your eyes, they're around you. Actions speak louder than words. If you're not a good person, you don't really care about them, they'll figure that out very fast.
Yeah.
If you are, if your intentions are good, they'll know that too. And then try and do whatever creative little things that you can do to help them and empower them. Today at our executive committee meeting, Laura had a great idea. She said, why don't we try in July and August, in the summertime, to do a 4-day a week, for some people who are interested, because it's summertime and people might like a Friday off or a Monday off and a longer weekend, and the weather's so nice, and everybody agreed that's a great idea. So they do 10 hours a day for 4 days, and they can take off the Friday or they can take off the Monday, and they have
I'm sold.
Don't quit. I knew it. I could feel it. I was like, don't.
It's burning.
Listen.
We're good people. We're good people.
No.
But it's actually.
You see my senses though? I could before you even said it. I was like turning already, going,
Yeah,
no,
you're bristling. You're like, oh,
But
no.
we have 2 people for every position, and I believe that's essential, because it's not a matter of when somebody is not available, if somebody's not available, it's when.
Yeah.
Right.
God forbid somebody would get hurt or be out sick, or people just go on vacation, so you have to have somebody to cover. So there's terms. If one person's off, the other person needs to be in the office, so they rotate their days.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and it's 1 day in July and 1 day in August, not every week.
Right.
So you get, it's just a stepping stone. But I was always intrigued about the 4-day work week. People will laugh at that because I work probably every day of the week.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't apply when you're.
I do though. As I said, everybody is different, and some people come in and they like to work long hours and do their 40 hours in 4 days. Well, maybe we could do that for them. Mm-hmm. Some people like to have some flexi time and work a little bit from home, and that was probably one of the advantages that came out of COVID, was that people
seeing how productive you actually could. That people could be.
We learned a lot with that too. It's amazing. Like even you, like you can do a couple days in the studio, you can do a couple days at home. There's no drop in productivity.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Good answer. I set that up. Great answer.
Excuse me.
Oh, there was something I wanted to ask you. Do you have another question? I want to remember what I was going to ask.
No, I love the hedgehog concept. It's great for investing too.
Oh, I do want to ask. You do not have to answer this question, but I am curious. I'll set an example so you kind of get the idea of what I'm saying. I was walking with my wife, and this was after, this was quite a few years ago now, and I'd find it actually specifically was through Jimmy Pattison. I met him, I talked to him, and I was really excited. It was new, our business was new, so it was crazy, and he was giving us like business advice, and it was just this incredible, and he's like a hero of mine, so it was an incredible experience for a young entrepreneur. But I wasn't sort of able to leverage it into, and now looking back, I realize why, because it had nothing to offer. It was just, he was just being nice.
No mousetrap.
No mousetrap, exactly. So he said. But it sort of did kind of open up. I went, okay, I'm meeting these people, but I'm not sort of able to develop partnerships properly. So I told my wife, like, I want to get better at that. And part of it was I would sort of assume what people needed. I knew I was making a lot of mistakes. I was sort of not being a good partner. And so I made that pivot, and it's still a work in progress, but I've gotten much better at it, at sort of carrying my weight and trying to carry a little bit more. And so I'm curious. I mean, I've got to know you enough to see sort of the level you operate at. Were there times in your career that you went, I'm not delivering. I can do much better than I am. Maybe I'm in a bad habit, or I'm not carrying out a task or a method that I know. Maybe when you read that book, you went, oh, okay, these things are dragging me down. Is there anything like that where you actually had to pivot from something that was negative to a positive, and you consciously had to do it?
Yes, for sure. Some things that were dragging us down is when we hired the wrong people. Right away, I can think of instances when we had people who we knew were what I would call on the bus that shouldn't be on the bus, and that we needed to get off the bus, and I didn't react as quick as I should have. And because of that, we lost some other people. And
the good people were paying the price.
They were.
Yeah.
And then when you get enough of complaints, you eventually say, okay, I gotta do something about this. And then you say, I should have done that a year ago. And that has happened to me a couple of times. But, better late than never. You can't change the past.
But have you learned to be a little bit more on it now? Yeah.
I have a bit more careful hiring people. Also calling references. I would say to, for example, we were hiring someone recently, and I said to Kira, did you call the 3 references? Will you get 3 references for me, please? And she said, I got, 2, but I can't get a 3rd, but these are very good. Is that okay? And I said, no. But I would normally say, yeah,
right.
It's okay.
Exactly.
Let's get the 3rd one. It's only, it didn't take too much.
Just there are 3 people that will say they like you.
And maybe,
yeah.
And maybe an extra day, but now we had, 100%.
Right.
They all said, this person is great, and I highly recommend them, and they're very strong references. So, just not pressing the pause button for a minute, and not rushing into things, and just kind of think about it, and maybe ask for other people's opinion too.
Yeah.
Because what's the point in having all these great people around us if we don't listen to them, or if we don't ask them, what do they think, or ask her and listen to their opinion. It's very important to listen. There's one thing asking, and they're telling you, but you gotta, listen as well and respect what they say.
I was thinking about the thing we like in our business development, like poor Dennis would go, and Gowdy, I know, but we'd have a new idea, a new thing we're gonna do.
Brutal.
We sometimes wouldn't even write it down. Like we just get on the next meeting. We talk 10 minutes before, it seemed great, and we go, okay, we're gonna do this thing.
The next day, Dennis is like, I don't know, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. But, like, look what we did with, like, even, like, our sales process. Like, you and I learned pretty quickly, like, this is
Which part of it? There was a lot.
No. The last few weeks. The group sales.
Oh, yeah.
We're like, we learned quickly, our clients are the biggest companies in the world. They need, and a lot of them need, like, very specific, customized options. Some companies will be fine filming remote. Other companies, they want us to come on site. Other companies, they want to do it in studio. But when there's a group of them on a call and collect the loot.
We were having, like, weekly planning sessions. So we'd reach out, and, like, 20 companies, well, not 20, like 3 to 5 companies would come on. So over a period of 3 weeks, we talked to like 20 companies, but in a group. The idea is that we could book them together. They would ask questions, so they would hear each other's questions and really
good questions. Really good questions.
It went well, but it wasn't closing.
Nope.
Because it didn't have that feeling like this. We own this piece of this series.
They didn't feel exclusive enough.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's interesting, but we didn't go and like get our booker to go. We went and did it. We tested it first and didn't go and burn his commissions for 2 weeks while we're trying a new idea, right?
Yeah, it's a big thing. Like, just you start writing, even starting to write things down. You're like, man, I don't know. This is kind of, there's some holes we can punch in this.
Yeah, don't they say something like, if you have another great idea. Write it down and come back to it like, a few days later.
At least sleep
Most
on
of
it.
the time you'd be just striking a line.
It's shocking. People say they do it when they're high. I don't even smoke weed, and I swear my brain funked. I'm like, really? You thought that was thought that was brilliant 2 days ago?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Can you stop laughing? Because I know what you're thinking.
I wish I could say so many
Their
things.
laugh is like, I get it. Yours is like, oh, I'm thinking of a specific thing, you idiot.
That's why it's so important to have surround yourself with good people.
Yes, that'll give you honest feedback. Thank you, Gaddy. I apologize as well. I wanted to say, you just sent me, you got I actually forget what it's called, but you got like a new honor. Someone gave you like an award, or
I did, yeah.
The Downtown Van Appreciation Award. Great.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
very good. It's just it just happened very recently. I think the award ceremony is maybe in the Sheraton Hotel in September. But most outstanding individual, Downtown BIA. So I'm very honoured to get that award. Thank you for bringing that up. But honestly, that award is not for me. That award is for our team and our people. And that might sound a bit cliche, but I really mean it. We couldn't do what we do without the incredible people we have around us. And that goes from the guys that are on site sweeping the floor to the guys that are, regional managers.
I can sweep floors, by the way, if you need. I learned that yesterday.
Everybody's equal, and everybody's job is as important as the others, and that's their award.
Yeah, I want to wrap up the episode, though. I've already jumped in with any question, but I do want to ask one last thing, though, on that vein, is because you are humble, but I actually genuinely, I know my strength, I know my weaknesses. What are your strengths? What makes you are successful? What has made you good at what you do?
Very good question. I think my biggest strength is my work ethic. I'm pretty tough, resilient, and in business you got to be very resilient.
Never stop.
You know what it's like. And when you turn one corner, there's something else waiting for you, and it just knocks you in your ass again. You're like, wow, how did that happen?
Does that feeling of getting knocked on your ass ever go away? Because it still hurts me as much as it did 10 years ago. It's unbelievable.
No, that's what keeps us humble.
Yeah.
But I think that's my biggest strength, is just being resilient, being tough. I think the fact that I'm pretty outgoing as well. Coming from a big family, it was pretty chaotic in our household.
Actually, I was going to mention that, like, you and I both came from large. You're the youngest, I'm the oldest, and it definitely helps.
Yeah.
Because if you're in that team environment, you can kind of thrive on it in a sense.
And I was the middle child, so I was used to hardship and being ignored.
Oh yeah,
all of those things.
Oh, that's why you took this seat. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But
boom.
no, look at growing up in Galway in the west of Ireland, in a small little village, a couple of thousand people, in the country, really shaped me to be the person that I am today. Humble beginnings. My mum and dad, great people, didn't complicate things, but always done good. My mum always said it costs nothing to be kind, and I live my life by that. My dad didn't say much, a man of very few words, but he, you just watched every move he made, and he was the hardest working person I've ever seen. And
family of 10, right?
Yeah. His parents had 10 kids.
He never had
his oldest brother passed away before I was born, so he was 5 years of age when he had an allergic reaction to a medication, actually. But my parents went down and had 9 more kids, and there's 4 younger than me, 2 boys and 2 girls, and 4 older than me, 2 boys and 2 girls. So I was smack bang in the middle. And we had honestly the best upbringing you could ever imagine. We didn't have a lot of money, but we had a lot of love, and we never really wanted for anything that we needed, whether it be a pair of Puma King football boots, when they were the coolest things in slice pan.
Didn't even know that.
My mum would she would make sure that she found a way to get them for us.
Wow.
We had a small little grocery store in the country as well, where, you know, the bell would go off and customers coming in and we're all at the table or watching a movie and we're fighting over who would get up and serve that customer. But like, you know, we were doing business from a very, very early age and in the hospitality, and we learned a lot through osmosis and through our parents, and the most important thing that we learned was, you know, there's two types of people. There's good people and there's bad people, and be a good person, you know, make sure, help others, be kind. And that really will stand to you, because in business, in my opinion, the two most important things are trust and relationships. And people won't trust you if you're not a good person. Yeah. And you won't maintain or create those relationships if you're not a good person.
So, yeah, and you find people that want to, and there's three. You're one of them. Another fellow, Frank Antoine, and Roy Slack. Those are three people. They're disarmingly kind, and you've been so good to our company, and it makes you want to. Now, if you want to take advantage of someone's kindness, I mean, anybody can do that. It's not a hard thing to do. But again, you get found out so quick that it doesn't last.
My youngest brother used to say, William, you're kind to a fault. Like, he used to think it was too much, you know. Mm-hmm. But I don't believe that. And I believe that, you know, the best time to give is when you don't have it to give. Yeah. You know, it's very easy to give. It's very easy to give somebody $1,000 if you have 100 million in the bank. Yeah. Yeah. But if you give someone $1,000 and you've got $2,000 in the bank. Yeah. Yeah. That's given, in my opinion, you know. Yeah. But, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. I was just talking to a friend of mine. I won't say his name on camera, but he's just such a kind, giving person. And he's sort of been starting to say to me, like, it's almost like it's putting me in disadvantage. I'm like, don't do it. Don't switch to this other thing you think is going to get, because people are going to try to take advantage of you either way. It's just, you're going to then lose a part of yourself if you then start trying to, you know, counter that. You're going to run into the same people.
That's right.
You're just going to not be as good of a person while you're doing it. So don't. I'm trying to encourage him. Don't go down that. And you won't.
It's not what people say about you when you're in the room. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. Yeah. I know.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
You say it to my face. You say it right to my face. It's all good. William, thank you so much for coming in. Let's do Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer. Rory, what did you think of this Danish Pilsner?
I thought it was a very, if it's full of purity, and
are you just reading the label?
And I definitely give it 15.
Official sponsor of Canada Soccer.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's a big deal. World Cup coming next year. We're going to be
on
the biggest stage in the world. Actually, less than a year now, imagine.
Crazy.
It's going to be here before we know it.
We're going to put real grass.
Place.
Real grass there, right?
So we're going to be seeing a lot of Carlsberg, and honestly, that's a great beer.
They are putting real grass there?
They better be, right? They'll put real grass in?
Yes, they have to. They're actually going to close the stadium about 6 months before the World Cup, so they're going to lose a lot of revenue on it.
Yep. But it's the government, so who cares?
Why are you so passionate about real grass?
Because they have to play on real grass.
Oh, sorry. I'm just curious. I didn't know. I don't know anything about it.
It's a World Cup. You have to have real grass.
Okay.
Wow.
Calm down.
This is only one beer. Imagine.
Big deal. That's going to be a tough one. You know, to make sure that that's absolutely perfect for the biggest sporting event in the world.
Is it Barcelona that has the amazing field with like all like the, I saw like a video on it once where they have it, they can basically take it down, they can manage it like the grass and then bring it back up. It's wild.
Whoa, maybe.
Oh wow.
I think it's Barcelona.
We should look that up and bring it up if we can. Like a time. This is what happens at the end of the show. You start talking about other stuff, and then an hour later.
I know.
Okay,
that's amazing. That's already next year.
It's less than a year.
Holy.
Yeah. I've got out of all the beers we've drank, I've got one that I've actually went and bought. Is that Sneaky Weasel?
I'm getting
this great beer. Have you had that?
Sneaky Weasel's great.
You know,
great beer.
Bob from Sugar Ray's talks about that all the time.
It is very good beer.
It's stocked in my fridge.
It's just nice to drink.
This is going to be now.
And someone must have heard about it because someone threw an empty box of it on my car the other day.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah, randomly. So someone walking by and they finished it, and I walk into the box of Sneaky Weasel on my car.
I've never tried it.
It's quite good. And this is something I'll buy. So I give it a little more generous. It's not like top, like it's not like a Guinness or something for me. I'd say it's a 16 though. It's
nice.
A good beer. Great. Thank you.
Thanks. We will. You're welcome. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really enjoyed it.
That was great.
And thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you on the next episode. Make sure to subscribe. We'll put links to IRL, the pubs that William owns. And, keep watching. See you on the next episode.